Hey, it's CJ, and I'm going to be talking about politics while vaping and venting. Big fan. Calms me down because this Trump administration is driving me fucking crazy. Okay, today we're going to be talking about something a little bit interesting, and I want you to think about two situations in your life. Okay, I want you to think about one situation in your life that you were accused of something that you did not do. Okay, and those feelings, those emotions that go into that when people really think you did something and you're like, I didn't do it. You know, and then I want you to think about a situation that you were accused of something that you did do. So imagine, if you're a guy, your girlfriend said, I know you were, out with whatever Rebecca last night, and I know you were, macking it on her, and you're like, no, I wasn't macking on her. Or, if a teacher even said, were you cheating? Are you cheating right now? And you're like, oh, I'm not cheating. These aren't answers on my hand. This is just, I like to draw pictures on my hand and then, rub it off and, just, yeah, that's your normal reaction to when you are guilty, okay? What I just did. So think about those two things and think about how you react to those things. I mean, even the finest actors in the world, even the most intelligent people in the world, even a fucking scammer like Donald Trump, you cannot act a certain way when you are innocent or guilty. Like, that is one of the things inside of our bodies that it's like a defense mechanism when it's like real. When you really are innocent about something, it shows. When you're guilty about something, it shows. It might not show as much because you've taken this person on like a roundabout tour of of something else, and you're distracting and you're playing this like whole game. But when you are innocent of something, everyone around you knows. So I just want to tell a little story. When I was about 6 years old, I remember this so clearly, like it was yesterday, and it's a big deal in my family because we still haven't found out like who did it. My mom used to buy these Entenmann's cakes, and the one that has like a vanilla bottom with a marble black and white top, and they're not good. The bottom is like stale and kind of like soft, crispy, and it's not like fluffy and moist. It's store bought, and at the end of the aisle, $3. And so, sorry, mom. Yeah, you can't cook, we can't babe. Sorry, just threw you under the bus. So we had this Entenmann's cake, and it was a big deal because my mom was like not big on having sweets or candy or any like treats in the house. So it was a big deal that it was even in the house, and it was on the top of the fridge. And one morning I woke up and my parents were fighting in the kitchen, not like they were yelling. And I ran down the steps and I'm like, what's going on? They said, Carrie, we know that you ate the top off of this cake. I looked down at this just plain vanilla bottom, and the black and white marble top was just gone. Like someone had eaten the topping right off, like almost like a sheet. They had pulled it off and just eaten the whole entire topping. And I remember thinking to myself, this looks like something I would do. It's normal behavior for me, but I really didn't fucking do it. So my reaction was just like, and I went, no, I didn't do it. And, they were kind of a little bit taken aback because I did sound innocent. Because if I was guilty, I would sound more like, I didn't do it. Or, I didn't do it. Or, he did it. Or, my brother did it. Or, hey, it was really windy last night and maybe the wind blew off the marble topping. So they were a little like, whoa, maybe she didn't do it. And I remember being like, ask me anything. Do you want to test my doo-doo at the laboratory across the street? We used to live across the street from this like science lab. That was really strange. And I said, want to test my pee-pee? I'll do anything. Ask me anything. So, my parents actually discussed it. They said, we're not really sure anymore. So let's talk to her. And I remember my mom sat down with me and she said, do you remember anything about how you felt before you went to bed last night? Were you hungry? Were you in the mood for a little snack? And I said, Probably. That sounds about right. But I didn't eat that fucking topping off the cake. I know where you're going with this. I didn't do it. And then she said, do you remember waking up in the middle of the night and maybe, sneaking into the kitchen for a little snack? And I said, no, I don't remember doing that. But even if I did, I didn't eat the topping off the cake. And then she asked, so do you remember maybe in the middle of the night hearing any noises? Like maybe your brother woke up, maybe you heard something else? Like, do you remember anyone talking about how they were thinking about eating the topping off the cake? And I was like, well, I don't really remember any of that, but even if still, maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but I didn't eat the topping off the cake. I swear. I swear. I don't think it was Daddy. I don't think it was you, Mommy. And I really don't think it was my brother, but I swear I didn't do it. I didn't do it. And they believed me because it was just so obvious that I really felt that way. And even as like a young kid, well, especially as a young kid, which Donald Trump is, by the way, he might as well be 5 years old. That's how you react when you've done something or accused of something that you did not do. I remember, and now I want to think about the other situation when you are guilty of something that you have been accused of. I remember I was in 6th grade. I had a boyfriend that was a year older and used to hang out in my house because we had this big basement and we had a lot of space and tons of we were the first people that had all the new video games, all the new Nintendo games and Genesis games and Sonic and Mario Brothers. It was just a really cool place to hang out. And I had this boyfriend and he one day decided to carve his initials into my rocking chair that was my mom's mom, my grandma's rocking chair that meant something to her. And he carved his initials in there and he felt so bad about it and I was so taken aback that he didn't know what to do and he took out a lighter and he lit the fucking rocking chair on fire. And after that we just kind of ran away from the chair and ran outside and did something else. And of course I knew I was going to have to, come home and come back to this situation, this backlash, and I did, and I was all prepared. And my mom said, hey, what the fuck? Why is this rocking chair a burnt piece of shit? What happened? And I was like, I don't know. Maybe I don't know, maybe one of his name, let's call him Pete. Maybe one of Pete's friends did it, And she was like, well, who could have done that? And I was like, well, don't you know how shady Paul is? He had a really bad upbringing. His parents are getting divorced and they're having all these custody issues. And Steve, he has this younger brother that he's kind of got Down syndrome and he's dealing with that and his grades haven't been so good and his parents are getting mad at him. Maybe maybe he's acting out. Oh, Alana, they're really good friends with this shady girl. Oh, she comes to school wearing overalls and doesn't even wear a shirt underneath them. There's just a sports bra. Who knows what she did? I don't know what's going on with her. I mean, I just remember just naming a lot of people because I didn't want to name one person because you don't want one person to take the fall. You want to name a bunch of people so everyone gets confused and they don't know what to do and hopefully the whole situation will go away. Like Trump is doing when he says, oh, it could have been Russia, but it could have been China, but it could have been... Hey, he just will name every country in the world. It could have been maybe it was ISIS, maybe it was Taliban, maybe it was one of the Muslim countries, maybe it was India. Maybe he just will start pointing at people just to confuse you, and don't let that happen because when you're innocent, you don't do that. You do not do that when you're innocent. When I did not eat the cake, when I did not eat the icing off the top of that cake, I did not start pointing fingers at people. I did not, and I'm talking about the natural reaction as a child, because I believe that Trump is like a child, and he really acts on impulse. He does not ever think about what he's going to do 1 second later. He doesn't think about the consequences, and that's how we have to evaluate him, like a child. And he's actually the most transparent person that exists on this face of the planet. He might as well be a 3-year-old that ate the icing on the top of the cake. If he did do that, and it's Donald Trump, he literally would say, hey, Carrie did it. You know how she's always like hungry and she's got a sweet tooth at night. And, you know, the neighbors, they have a key to this house and maybe they like came in the middle of the night and they were just like, oh, let's eat the topping of the cake and then we're just going to blame me, little Donald. And then, you know, and maybe, hey, maybe it was the gardener. Yeah, the gardener. He totally has access to the, you know, he knows the garage door combination. He can get in and he could totally, you know, come in and eat the topping of the cake. Hey, maybe it was just a big earthquake that just everything was shaking and, you know, who knows what happened to the you know, sugar can disintegrate. You know, sugar can just evaporate. Oh, you know what? The dog ate it, but our little doggy was sent to the farm recently. But hey, maybe he came back from the farm and he wanted that cake, and then that's what he'll do. That's what you do when you are guilty. It is so fucking obvious. So I remember sitting there with my mom and being like, ask me anything. Just ask me anything. And I was so excited to answer the questions. The same way that Donald Trump should be excited to answer the questions from Robert Meuller. He should be like, come on, give me these questions. Give me anything. Oh, ask me right now. Oh, have I collaborated with Russia? No. You know, and his answer could be like, oh, I do know some Russians, but I did not collaborate with them. I never told them to meddle in our elections. I never told them that they had the capabilities of getting into our infrastructure. I never gave them the okay for that. I never had a meeting with them about it. You know, he would be excited to talk about this, but he's not. He's terrified because that's what you do when you are guilty. You're scared. At first you say like, oh, and he's saying at the beginning, he was like, I'll meet with Robert Meuller. Yeah. At the beginning, he's acting like all tough guy. I'll meet with Robert Meuller. I really want to meet with him. Yeah. I can't wait for that day. Now, all of a sudden, he's backpedaling because he knows he's going to get into a corner that his answers are not going to sound organic and he's going to destroy himself. I mean, he's just doing it every day. I mean, that's not even what we're worried about anymore. We already know he's colluded. Now we're more dealing with like obstruction of justice. That is just on the table. That is out there for all to see. He's just tweeting about it. He's talking about it. He's saying, oh, Jeff Sessions, end this. He's borrowing James Comey, who's head of the FBI, and he was on TV saying literally that he fired James Comey because, and this is what he said, yeah, this whole Trump and Russia thing. You know, I was like, no, I got to get rid of this guy. Like, he is so transparent when it comes to obstruction of justice. But also, I have to say, he is just as transparent when it comes to collusion. He obviously knows everything that happened. And Trump Jr., little Donald Trump Jr., could not be as more guilty as his own father. When he has been asked about this meeting that took place, first of all, yeah, so he brought up the meeting because he knew that story was going to come out. He knew that there was evidence about it, this meeting that took place. So he decided to be on the offense and talk about it. And then he said, so obvious when he said it, oh my God, it was a big nothing burger. He said a bunch of people that came to the meeting, so therefore he could pin this on other people. He said nothing happened. It was about adoption. Yeah, because Donald Trump Jr. really cares about Russian adoption. That's really his big goal in life, is to make sure that adoption in Russia is running smoothly. Mm-hmm. And that's what you do. You start having these other stories and these other lies, and you create this whole, you know, world that does not exist. If he was really innocent, he would say, if it really did happen, and he really, you know, had a meeting that was about Russian adoption, which he wouldn't, but if he really did, he would be really adamant about it. He would be like, it was about Russian adoption, ask me anything about it. But no, he won't answer any questions anymore. Oh, he's gone. He's so guilty, it's insane. You could look right at his face and know that he's just totally full of shit. He called it a nothing burger. That's not you know. He met with these Russians to get dirt off of Hillary. And he even has the emails to prove it. They literally say, if you have it, I love it. I mean, he's guilty. 100% he's guilty. It's so clear, but he just will keep on making up other stories and other things, and that's what Trump does too. He calls it a hoax. He calls it a big witch hunt. Like, the more words that they put into it, and the more like they make it like this Trump Russia mania, that's the more guilty they are. Every second that they say it's something else makes them look more and more guilty. And I don't understand why people do not see this. It's so simple. This is not like very like high tech. This is not very like, we do not need like mental health professionals, like psychologists. We do not need lie detector tests. You could look right at their faces and know that they're fucking guilty. And the fact that they do not want to sit down with Robert Meuller and answer some fucking questions, they should be excited to go sit down with Robert Meuller. At the beginning, Trump said he was so excited to do so. But then he realized, oh shit, this guy's going to put me into a corner and I'm not going to be able to answer organically because I'm a fucking liar and I'm going to convict myself. I'm going to sabotage myself. You know? The whole thing is just absolutely insane. And the fact that we think for a second, the fact that we even, like, anyone for 1 second doesn't think that they're guilty, like, when on the news channels they even say, like, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt, or we'll see what happens, let's wait for the outcome. Everyone's just full of shit. He's so guilty, it's insane. I mean, he was in charge of Miss Universe. That's how he met this guy. There's been like 19 indictments from like his entire staff. I mean, let's just call a spade for 1 second. Does anyone even talk about this? At the very, very bottom, he had he had, I call him Manafort. I'm sorry. I have a bad habit of calling not Manafort. He hired him to be his campaign director, to be in charge of the campaign. Does anyone even say for 1 second, does anyone talk about how he didn't even research the guy that's going to be in charge of his campaign? Like, he was the one that got up there during his campaigning and during his rallies and said, I will hire the best people. The best people will drain the swamp. And he hired someone that literally has, 18 counts of federal charges of laundering money, of like, just he had millions of dollars hidden in all kinds of banks all over the world just to get out of paying taxes in the United States. Like, he did no vetting whatsoever. No one even talks about that. Like, that should be a crime on its own. The fact that he even hired someone that fucking retarded should be a fucking crime in itself. Can you imagine if Obama hired someone to be his campaign manager that did even one of those federal crimes? One? And he's accused of 19. It's either 18 or 19. Can you imagine if Obama hired someone that had 1 or 2, even 3? It would be a fucking outrage. Not to mention Michael Flynn. I mean, I could keep going with all these people that he hired that are pieces of shit. Michael Cohen, right away, basically has been dealing with somebody who's a fucking mafia guy. He made him a mafia guy. He said that he was his fixer. I mean, we're dealing with a fucking mob. No one's talking because everybody that's in the media is so scared of being biased. They just want to report the news. How do you report the news anymore when you're literally dealing with the mob? When you're literally dealing with people that, I mean, if anyone doesn't think that Michael Cohen has had people killed for Donald Trump, you're living under a rock. If I could put money on it, I would say that at least 20 people have died because of him. What do you think? I mean, Donald Trump would hire immigrants and not pay them, and he had them. Where do you think they went? They would be speaking now, saying I wasn't paid. He had them killed. He had so many people killed. He had casinos in Atlantic City that went down. I mean, he's just the true mob boss, and his lies are coming to fruition. They're done because we're dealing with the best person in the world, Robert Meuller, who is going to be able to. He's not. Robert Meuller isn't even a psychiatrist, a psychologist. He's not. I don't know what he knows about lie detection, but all he's gonna do is just ask simple questions. It's so simple. Hey, did you collude with the Russians? And Donald Trump's gonna go, well, it's a big witch hunt, and then Obama, and then birth certificate, and who knows what the fuck is gonna come out of his mouth. But he's gonna go on a rant, that tangent rant for so long that it's going to deter, he thinks it's going to deter Robert Meuller, but no, Robert Meuller is here and here. A water aerobics instructor. And I was going here and here. Posture, posed. That's how Robert Meuller is. He is stone. No emotions, no expressions. He is not biased either. I do not believe he is biased. He is facts. White or black. That's it. There's no gray area. And he's going to see right through. Well, he's not going to he doesn't even have to see right through Trump's lies. He's just going to have him on the record lying. And it's going to be easy for us to be able to hear it and know that this is a bunch of bullshit. Because when you're innocent, we know it. When you're guilty, we know it. We all know it. Donald Trump is like a 5-year-old. If you've ever asked a 5-year-old if they did something wrong, did you spill the nail polish on the carpet? And they did it, they would say, well, maybe Rebecca did it. Or maybe, no, I didn't do it. That's how he's going to react. But if a kid didn't do it, this is how a kid would react. No, I swear to God, I didn't do it. I did not do it. That was not mine. There's no way. Ask me anything. Ask me any question. That is not how he is going to react. He's going to put you on a whole tangent, and his base will go on that fucking world with him. They'll go on that crazy tangent with him. And smart people that are grounded just don't have the energy for it and just know right away. I don't think that they're stupid, Trump supporters. I think that they've been sucking his cock, and whatever they've been eating that's been coming out of his cock has been poisoning them. With, you want to talk about like conspiracy theories? I think that everybody, including, of course, his wife, but Ivanka and his whole family, and the whole Trump administration, every supporter, whatever he has been feeding them, whatever they're sucking through his cock, has turned them into fucking robots that will believe anything he says, even when it's just the most ridiculous stuff in the world. He will say seriously things that are just super not a fact, and they just will go with it. When he said there's good people on both sides, when one side was wearing KKK outfits screaming Jews will not replace us, hey, that's fine. The other was just standing up for not being Nazis. They were like, oh yeah, that's just the way it goes. I don't know what Kool-Aid they're drinking, but I don't want to drink it. I like my brain. I like having thoughts that are my own, not being just. There is no parties anymore. There's no Democratic Party. There's no Republican Party. It's either you're a Trump supporter or you're not. And I'd rather be a not than anything in the entire world to the death. I don't care what's going on in the economy. So what? I got a little bit of a tax break this year. So what? I got a couple more $100 than last year. What? Even if it's thousands of dollars, I would trade all of that in for a president that literally did not stand for dividing this nation and stand up for hatred over love and respect and supporting each other and coming together and environmental causes and not making this world a place where you can't even breathe the air and just lies and bullshit. Not for me. And this is why I have to calm down for a second. This is why I'm in. And babe. Anyway, so I want you to think about a time in your life that you have done something and you were I'm sorry. I want you to think about a time in your life that you were accused of something that you did not do and how you reacted to it. Like every little thing that you did, like whether you were asked if you were cheating and you hadn't, or whether you were asked of, if you had, been chewing gum and put it under the table or whatever, or if you, here's a good one, if you turned in something in the mail and they didn't get it, or if you actually showed up to work on time and they said you were late and you really weren't. Something like that. Something that made you really upset because you were really telling the truth. Think about an instance like that. And also think about an instance where you were accused of something and you did do it. Think about something big that you did do and how you felt about it. The guilt that was weighing on you and the terror that you must have felt. The sheer fear of it all. I mean, every time that person brought it up, you just seize up and you just want it to go away. So you try to like change the topic, or you try to like talk about how it could have been someone else, or you just try to bring up I'm thinking about a boy that cheated on me once, and I found out later on that he'd been cheating me. I accused him, and I believed him. And looking back, I remember how he acted. He always wanted to change the topic. He always threw things back on me. Like if I said, "I think you're cheating on me," he'd be like, "Well, you have no time for me. You're like a workaholic." Like, and then at the end of the conversation, I was apologizing. Thank God that Robert Meuller is smarter than me. He's not going to apologize for anything. Okay. I'm CJ Zishik. Please get in contact with me to tell me one of those instances or any thoughts you have about Trump's reactions. One of your instances would be great because I think those stories are so funny. And if you have like proof of it or like a picture or any quote that you have, that'd be even better. Send it to me at cjzontv@gmail.com. cjzontv@gmail.com. I'm a little too lazy to put shit on the bottom of the screen. I just post these things on YouTube. And thank you so much for tuning in. It means the world to me. And anything you want me to talk about, or I think that tomorrow I'll be talking about what happened with LeBron James today because he's awesome. And Melania Trump sucks for not, she stood up for him a little bit. But I hate when these people in the Trump administration stand up for people like the tiniest bit when they should be like, no, like, do not call the media the enemy of the people. Do not attack them. Do not take kids away from their parents at the border. Like they need to stand up. Like the little things they do bother me more than if they would actually do nothing. So Melania standing up for LeBron James, like she might as well have done nothing. I would appreciate it more. Okay, so I told you the email address, told you everything that's going on, and I will see you tomorrow because I need to vape and vent every single day or I'm going to lose my fucking mind. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.